When we write a common fraction as a decimal fraction, we are going to look at the denominators, and then also what I said earlier is when you see the words decimal fraction, you must know that you are going to use your place values. Okay, so your denominator is going to tell you what place values you are going to write. In this case it's going to be a tenth, and then you go to the place value, the tenth, and you're going to write the numerator under the place value with T, and then you're going to fill up with a 0. Now this you did last year in grade 6, so I'm just going to revise this quickly. Here I've got 100th and I've got 24 hundredths, so I'm going to write the H, and then under the H I'm going to start writing my numerator starting from the back. So under the place value I'm going to write the 4 and the 2. To be able to write it as a decimal fraction, I'm just going to fill up with a 0 after the comma, or just before the comma. Okay, what if I've got 1,000 but my numerator is only 6? Going to follow the same rules, so it's going to be 1,000. That is where I have to start writing my value of my decimal then. So the numerator is only a 6, so I'm going to my 1,000th place value, and that is where I'm going to start writing my numerator, and that's only a 6. Now you can see there's gaps before I reach my comma, and the only possibility there is that I fill it up with zeros, the comma, and there's no units. Okay, in this case you'll see that my place values, or my denominator, every time was in line with the place values. But what happens now if I've got a denominator that's not a 10, 100, or 1,000? So if you think back of your place values, you are going to see that you only have a tenth, 100, and 1,000. There's no place value for a fifth. So I need to fix my denominator to be able to be either a tenth, 100, or 1,000. So I have to know that is what I have to have as a denominator. So I can start with a tenth, that's the smallest one. And now I'm going to see, like grade 6, you're also going to have a denominator, and they guide me basically to show me what denominator I have to find now. So the 5, what will I do with a 5 to be able to get to a 10? In this case I'm going to multiply with a 2. What I do at the bottom I do at the top. So 2 times 2, and that is going to be 4. Now it's easy for me to basically write my decimal from this fraction, the 4 over 10, because now I can know where to start writing with the place value and my denominator. So in this case I'm going to have the units again, and then my tenth, and my previous rule says that I'm going to start writing under this place value the tenth, the T, and my numerator is going to be my value that I'm going to write under my tenth. Now to get to the decimal I just have to do my comma under the comma, and there's no units. Okay, the next one is a bigger number. The denominator is a 20th now. So if I have to ask myself, can I change it into a tenth? No, because it's not big enough, the tenth. So I'm going to look at the next value, that's going to be 100. Can I multiply the 20 with anything to become 100? Yes, I can. I can multiply with a 5. What I do at the bottom I do at the top, so there it's going to be 35 over 100. Now it's easy to write it as a decimal. Again, my place values, a unit, a tenth, and a hundred. So now I know where to start writing my decimal. So my denominator, my place value is going to be in line, so I just write my numerator starting under the 100 place value, and then I write it from the back to the comma, and there's no units, so I just complete it with a 0 and the comma stays where it is. Okay, if we look at the next one, there it's going to be 11 over 50, and sometimes your marks can be 11 out of 50, and this is also a way the way you can write it as a decimal, but in our case we are going to write it as a percentage for your marks to show what you did there. Okay, in this case I can also write it as a hundredth. I can't write it as a tenth because the 50 is too big to change it into a tenth, so I'm going to write my denominator as 100. So remember, there's three options: a 10, 100 or 1,000. So now I can just go back to the 50 and say, what did I multiply the 50 with to get to 100? And that's going to be times 2. What I do at the bottom, I'm also going to do at the top. So 11 times 2 is going to be 22. So if I go to my place values, then I'm just going to start writing there at the back. Then it's going to be under the place value of the 100. I'm going to start from the back, my comma and my 0 because there's no units.